I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com for Friday, September 18th, 2020, the WNW 449er. Don't you just love getting a story told to you succinctly? I love telling a story succinctly. You know, where I could use a picture, especially a complicated story that kind of just, bam, I got it, just with one picture. And thus is the case of where we are with CV-19. Here it says, by almost every measure, COVID is dissipating across the nation. Emergency room visits, hospitalizations, and deaths are way down from peaks in April. Here's what it looks like, folks. This is actually through 8/29. This is that's it. This is what it looks like now. Yeah, it got bad. Boom, and it's okay. So my next question is, why are we still locked down? Don't you get the feeling that it's over? Because it is. Why are we still locked down? Why are we still locked down? The Democrat mayor in Nashville, had super low rates of COVID, like 22 cases in bars and restaurants, kept them all locked down. They kept the information from the people. Wrecked people's businesses, ruined downtown, probably cost hundreds of millions of dollars in lost revenue and businesses going out of business. Tons of businesses went out of business, are never going to come out. Tens of thousands of businesses have gone out of business and are never going to come back. I got a fact on that. And why? Because this is what they're going with, folks. I've been telling you they're going to go with as much pain and as much problems and rioting and looting and, reparations. And they're just going to go with as much pain as possible, as much confusion as possible, because this is all they got. They can't win on ideas because their ideas suck. Higher taxes, open borders, medical benefits to illegal aliens, no bail, no law and order, people, prosecutors that they put in, ultra-liberal prosecutors who won't prosecute, putting you out of business, no white privilege, which is an obvious civil rights violation to judge somebody. Oh, you're white, you have white privilege. Oh, you're black, you have black privilege. Can you imagine that? Under the guise of critical race theory. Yeah, the nonsensical, illogical, irrational, illegal, obvious violations of civil rights law to call somebody, judge them because of their skin color, in this case, whites and white males. That's the Democrat Party. Unbelievable. It really is quite unbelievable. This mayor in Nashville should be, Don Jr. says he ought to be in jail. I mean, what a fraud. What a fraud. And I've been telling you for months, how is this going to be a vote getter for Democrats? Well, Shazam, it's not. And then you have, the mainstream media locking this down. I mean, Facebook, you had this Dr. Li Min Yang, who went on Tucker Carlson's show and said, whoa, this China virus is man-made. It was made in Wuhan, the CV-19, and it's a Chinese military weapon. And I can prove it. And I'm a target. And Facebook shut that down, said she was rogue. She's a doctor who's, come over to America affected. But can't have the truth, because, the truth says we should be opening back up and should have a long time ago. And this was, as the president said, caused by the CCP. Things have been damaged when the Federal Reserve is openly advertising, yep, we're going to continue at least $120 billion a month of monthly QE to support the flow. That's money printing, quantitative easing. Support the flow of credit to households. Folks, the damage in the economy is severe. I love Donald Trump, and he's going to try and make it look as good as possible. You had Michael Pinto on saying, wow, there's 29.6 million people, and now even more, filing for unemployment, getting unemployment. There are many ways to get it, and you can look at it on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS. That's how many. There's tons of people out of work. It's been smoothed over by all the money printing. Thus the Fed to continue 120 billion a month. Let's see, in 10 months, that's $1.2 trillion. And then here we have this, and everybody's celebrating every time in the last 3 weeks that it comes under, new unemployment claims come under 1 million. That's a party. We're supposed to party. And the latest is 860,000 Americans. 860,000 Americans filed for first-time jobless benefits last week. This is 26 weeks of unemployment claims that are over 50 million. And if you look back here, you think, wow, that looks pretty good. But if you look back here before the corona's overreaction, that's what it was. Pretty small. But compare this little bar to these bars, and it's what, 4 or 5 times higher. Don't get lulled into thinking things are great and we're going to have this V recovery. I mean, really. And if you look at things on a chart, again, just a chart to show you where we are so you can, bing, immediately get it. Here is where we were before this corona thing. Of course, everything, bing, locked down, flat line, and came back. But we're still right here. We're still at Labor Day. Hold on. 49% off. I mean, business is still off by a country mile. 49%. And if you look at Yelp, they say reveal 60% of business closures are now permanent. So, you have this chart and you have this right here. This is the average of these two right here. So it's 169,000 businesses that are either closed, hold on, let me get it, focus it. Yeah, 163,000 businesses closed either permanently or temporarily. Well, here are the permanent closures, bing. Here are the temporary closures. There's still a ton of them. But they say the permanent closures are 97,000 businesses. I mean, they're never coming back. This is why the Fed isn't worried at the moment about inflation, because of massive capital destruction. Somebody goes out of business, their loans defaulted on, their leases defaulted on, their employees are fired, they're no longer gaining income. They're no longer in business. And so when you see, cartoons like this is the cartoon I picked. And this is really, Hunter, Harris. Oh, that's right. They slipped up. Biden and Harris both call it the Harris administration. A lot of people are saying that she was born in Jamaica and not even eligible to be president. But, guess what? We'll work that out. I don't think it's going to make any difference. They're not going to win. They're not going to win, and not going to win by a country mile. And, this would be even funnier if it wasn't true. The burning down the cop cars, the Black Lives Matter, the defund the police, and then Biden backtracking. I heard him say it. We're going to move that money to other places. The platform, the Democrat platform, is about defunding the police, reinventing law enforcement, so it's not law enforcement. It's unbelievable. No bail. Unbelievable amount of crime coming into the country, no wall, making everybody legal, paying everybody unemployment benefits, much higher taxes, and it's not just for rich people. Oh, no, it's for everybody. The Green New Deal is going to drive your prices to the moon to save the planet, right? Really under the guise of, 2030 or Agenda 21 or whatever. But all this, this whole thing right here, they were down with this Black Lives Matter, Antifa. They were down with the violence. It kept telling us it was peaceful protests, kept telling us that it wasn't so bad. Kamala Harris is involved in a group that provides bail to people who destroy things and riot and murder and rape. And this is wackadoodle. And other people think it is too. So here's the latest Rasmussen poll out this week. It's one of the better ones. Among those who have had violent protests in their community, even more, 76% rate them as important to their vote. 76%. Including 54% who say they are very important. 63% of those voters strongly approve of the job Trump is doing. And let's talk about some of the voters that are out there. I can't say enough about Leo Terrell. I mean, he thinks there will be 2 million voters. I mean, went from 8 to 16%. Other polls say it's 24%. Other polls say he's got near or a little more than the majority of African American voters. Trump was out in a campaign stop, and I know this is true because nobody attacked him for it. And he said, now I poll out and I have over more than half of Hispanic voters. That's huge. Now support me. That's huge. And then what about the independent voters? I think 3 out of 4 are like, we're not voting for this. You understand the picture I'm voting? And then add in the Democrats that are being told they have white privilege and that they're racist, but the real people, the people that claim they have white privilege, those are the racists. The critical race theory, the illogical, irrational, illegal, unscientific, critical race theory. Isn't it an academia name, a name right out of academia? It makes you think this is real. It's not. It's Marxist propaganda. What about those Democrats who are getting called racist because you're white? That's racist in and of itself. Can you imagine calling somebody of color some nasty name because, well, I'm judging you just on your color of your skin. Oh, yeah, I had a dream that someday we won't judge men on the color of their skin. Who said that? Martin Luther King Jr., he would be totally against BLM, Antifa, critical race theory, white privilege. He'd be totally against that. Read his writings. Which is why Coretta King is a Trump supporter. But add up all these people. Blacks, massive amounts of blacks who vote for Trump. Latinos, majority. I think there's probably a majority of blacks, quietly. There's going to be a percentage. They're not all that crazy. I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20% of just run-of-the-mill Democrats that have this ideal that they're still in Camelot with JFK. That's gone. And then all the people who were never Trumpers who aren't now. He's going to have even more support on the Republic. It's a blowout. And now they're openly cheating with this vote by mail deal. And they're like, oh, we're just going to have some lawyers, and we're lawyers, and we can cheat. No, you can't. There can be lawyers on the other side. They know this is coming. In 2016, Project Veritas exposed the cheating. Now they're coming straight out saying we're going to rig it with vote by mail. That's what they're doing. And then this whole idea where they can intimidate people and they can, get people, to knuckle under and vote the way they want them to, which is not going to work. That is going on. The riots and the nastiness and all that's going on. And now I think the gloves are coming off. So here we have William Barr, Attorney General, asked prosecutors to explore charging Seattle Mayor Durkin over a protest zone. They left 8,000 people were in that zone. And she just hung them out to dry. There was murder, there was rape, there was extortion, robbery. It was unbelievable. It was a protest zone. It was Summer of Love. It was mostly peaceful. As long as you weren't some of the people that were robbed, raped, murdered, and killed. But Barr asked prosecutors to also explore charging Seattle mayor over protest zone. Wow. Are the gloves coming off before the November election? He also talked about sedition. Charging people with sedition. Sedition. What's the penalty for sedition, which is a cousin of treason? 20 years in jail and fines? Excuse me? 20 years in jail and fines? Sedition. Weren't they supposed to have that big, encirclement of the White House and have a big siege on the White House? Yeah, that got called off. You think that got called off because the gloves are coming off? And notice they're coming off before the election. Before. You think they're going to let this go on? They're going to just wait and do nothing until after the election and let the whole country burn down? I don't think so. And I think the overwhelming majority don't want that to happen. The riots in Portland did stop magically and unannounced, and just all of a sudden, of course, then we have this increase of fires in Washington State and Oregon and California, and people arrested for starting fires, and and that, I mean, multiple arrests for people starting fires. Had Dane Wigington on. Of course, the thing that sets the groundwork, according to Wigington, is the the weather engineering that dries everything out and sprays particles that are flammable all over the trees and kills them at the top and kills them from the bottom up. But all this is showing, and of course they want to blame Trump supporters on lighting the fires. I mean, it's just really. Even Christopher Wray is like, oh, most of the violence is happening because of white supremacists. Really, Christopher Wray, you're an idiot. You should be fired the day after election. Christopher Wray, FBI director. You really should. Just preposterous. And then you have, the big tech, all in, going crazy. They know what the polls are. They know at least what I know. This is going badly. You don't think with the data mining that Google can do, and you don't think with the background polls that they would never release, you don't think they know what's going on? And here we have Fox News, who they cut off Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, after he points out that George Soros has a role in election prosecutors, and more than that, with his Open Society foundations and his other, ultra left-wing liberal foundations. He's funding the campaigns of like the prosecutor in St. Louis, and there's one in Philadelphia, one in Dallas, and all over there, these liberal prosecutors that won't prosecute. Somebody comes in, the protesters in Seattle, in Seattle also, but in Portland, they had 400 of them. Let them all go. It's okay. Up in Minneapolis, they're wondering, where are the police? Crime's rising. You defunded the police. Bill de Blasio is getting letters from business people, the mayor of New York, saying, hey, listen, this is a leadership problem. Of course, de Blasio wants almost $1 trillion for New York City, one city in America. He's not going to get it. And then you have a log jam, for more stimulus because of this Corona thing. The Republicans wanted $1 trillion and Nancy wanted $2.2 trillion. Trump tweeted out that, well, maybe we should have a higher number. He wants to get reelected. And then they came up with $1.5 trillion. Nancy went, no. And then her constituents are like, oh, come on. We can't go back to our constituents with facing this election saying, we decided not to do anything. Go pound sand. We have a government job and our paycheck still comes in. But we're not helping you with loans and getting your business back in order and just opening up the country. I mean, it's unbelievable. You have Dem VP Harris, who's promoted these people and actors and other people. But Harris, the VP nominee, the running mate of Joe Biden, is backing bailing out crazy, violent people. Like the guy that just got bailed out by the group she supports and promoted, and he raped an 8-year-old girl. Yeah, that's good for voters. Yeah, yay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Integrity Project, Open Insurrection, the Integrity Project, which we're unbiased. Oh, stop it. I mean, all being funded by people like China, which is a direct interference of our election. How can this go on? Soros, all this money going to the Democrat Party and all this hinky stuff where it's coming into the Democrat Party, and how's it doing it with gift cards and other things like that? I think the gloves are going to be coming off. Thus, you didn't see the siege on the White House. Here's something that's been running on my site, and it's, this person here, how to defeat Mitch McConnell. Of course, this is the woman that's running against Mitch McConnell, Amy McGrath. And of course, all they can really do is lie. I hate to tell these guys, this is on USA Watchdog. My website, my YouTube channel is being targeted with Democrat ads, tons of them. It's unbelievable. I mean, I hate to tell them that they're wasting their money, but, whatever. Because people that watch me aren't going to be down with that. But this is Amy McGrath. You think she's talking about issues? Oh, I love Project Veritas. James O'Keefe. So O'Keefe is out, strikes again. Staffer for Dem Amy McGrath, running against Mitch McConnell, admits campaign deceives Trump voters in Kentucky by not talking about specific policies. You know, like tearing down the wall and giving illegal aliens, benefits and no bail and lawlessness and taking away your gun rights. Incidentally, there are about 5 million or so new gun owners this year. That's 5 million people that actually voted for guns with their pocketbook. You think new owners never had a gun before? Do you think they're going to be wanting their gun rights taken away because they just bought a gun? Yeah, no. But this is Abby Cox's quote. She's one of the top aides of Amy McGrath. This is all they got, folks. Lying, cheating, violence, riots. Oh, blame it on Trump. They can't talk about their Green New Deal, which is a $16 trillion tax in and of itself. It's not just for rich people. Regular people, poor people, near poor people, middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class, everybody is going to pay more for energy and everything else with their Green New Deal. Cool phrase. That's a Green New horror show. Not to mention all the taxes they're talking about raising. All your constitutional rights they're talking about doing away with. Making it illegal to criticize government. Illegal to protect yourself. I mean, this is a Democrat. This is their policies. And all that to get to this. Last week I said, listen, my prediction, and I still stand by it. And they're going to have massive cheating. They know they have to have massive cheating. It's going to be a blowout for Trump. Blow out. There's no question about it. They know it. You know who else knows it? Jill Biden. I don't care about how many lawyers they have, how many people they have, how much. When she is sitting there and she's out, just to read this, my peg. Jill Biden hits the campaign trail in New Hampshire as feeble Joe Biden stays put in Delaware. That's the headline from the Gateway Pundit. Watch Jill Biden on election night and a few days after if it's a blowout, as I predict. I mean a blowout. She will pull the plug for Joe and get him to concede in exchange for a no prosecution deal with President Trump. What does that look like? I don't know. Some sort of no prosecution deal. Can you imagine her coming in and seeing that Trump won Michigan by 13 points, that he won Pennsylvania by 9 points, or 11 points, or, in other states that are battleground states, in Florida, he comes in and he's won it by, 18 points. I mean, it's going to be a blowout. Oh, incidentally, if you hear, Donald Trump's going to cut your Medicare, that's a lie. Donald Trump's going to cut your Social Security, another lie. I mean, this is all they got. Violence, lies, cheating. Oh, and blame the other side for the stuff you're doing. Jill Biden is extremely involved in the campaign. She's campaigning for her husband. She knows how bad it is. She knows how bad the internal polls are. She knows they're losing tons of traditionally Democrat voters, white, Latino, Asian, black. She knows it. They know it. And on election night, when she sees this vast expanse that they have to fill by cheating, she's going to go, oh man, there's no way they can. No way. There's no way they can make this up and cheat. Call the White House. John, call the White House. Joe, come over here. Listen, you're going to concede, and here's why. They're not going to make this up. We got to talk about you and saving you and Hunter. You need to quit. Joe don't know what he's doing. As I've said, give me a break. Joe is a basket case. I'm not even sure Joe can make it to election day. You think he can make it another 90, 180 days of a big fist fight, a legal fist fight where he has to have his act together? No. He may not even make it to election day. And I don't think he'll debate. If he does, as I've said, it'll be like a guy with a paring knife against a guy with a broadsword. Trump's got the broadsword. You watch Joe Biden on election night or the day after. You watch. what I'm talking about her is just say, listen, promise you'll do all you can to not prosecute Joe. You know, he's got the Ukraine deal and the influence peddling, and I'll get them to fire the prosecutor. Giuliani worked on that. Whether or not the mainstream press, you know, he's a former top federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, and that's where they put all the best prosecutors. That's where Giuliani came from before he was mayor of New York. He knows how to put a case together. He's told Donald Trump all about it, and they know there's a case put together. And on the other side of the world, there's the $1.5 billion Hunter Biden got. You know, Biden got a piece of that. His family got a piece of that. $1.5 billion. Why do you think China is helping out the Integrity Project and doing all kinds of other things? They keep talking about Wray, that idiot FBI director that should be fired, really should be fired now. But I bet you the day after the election, or not long, he'll be fired, talking about Russia's meddling in the election. No, it's China, Christopher Wray, you idiot. Because, you know, they paid their $1.5 billion. They want their money's worth from Joe, who's going to sell, who has already sold out America. Mama is going to step in to protect Daddy Bear. Mama Bear is going to protect Daddy Bear, and she's going to protect her cub, Hunter. That's all there's to it. She's not going to sit there and watch these guys go down. She's going to call them up and say something. Hey, you got to promise me you won't go after Joe. We'll concede right now. We'll end it. No matter how many lawyers they have, that's why you have Hillary Clinton. You know, no matter how many people are lined up on the other side, no matter she knows the cheating's too great and can't risk it. I mean, there's going to be lawyers on the other side stopping this. And that's why Hillary Clinton's out. Whatever you do, Joe, you can't concede. Don't concede. You can't concede. Do you think he has the stamina for that? Hillary might. Joe Biden doesn't. Because she knows her husband doesn't. That's my prediction. I think Jill Biden is the key. If she sees it's a blowout, she'll use the leverage right then and there. Because after, if they win, no leverage. We'll concede. We'll concede. Joe, you'll concede. Yeah. Yes, you heard him. We'll do it 45. Yes, we'll do it. We will concede. It'll pull the plug on the whole deal. Everybody will be pissed. Because, you know, most of them are going to be going to jail. Comey, Brennan, McCabe, I don't know. Some of these people get prosecuted. They're awful smug. But the Bidens will be saved. And nobody will say diddly squat. That's what I think. Watch Jill Biden. Key. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com. I appreciate it. On the Saturday Night Post, I've gotten the guy that wrote this, The Cycle of War and the Coronavirus, and he's going to tell us what the coronavirus and his war cycle have in common, and he is world-renowned political and economic cycle expert Martin Armstrong of Armstrong Economics. That's his free site. Then he also has, you know, his pay site and the site. We'll talk all about that on the Saturday Night Post. Martin Armstrong is going to be the guest. Always interesting. Never says the same thing other people say. He's right a lot. I mean, nobody's 100%, but he's right a lot. And he's very interesting, and he's in demand all over the world. Martin Armstrong will be the guest for the Saturday Night Post. Thank you again for supporting USAWatchdog.com. And remember, listen, these folks want you afraid. Don't be afraid. Be informed. Know what's going on. You know, if you're afraid, they can control you. They can put you in line. Don't be afraid. Fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all spiritually. Fear not. God the Father, His Son Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and the Holy Spirit are all firmly in control. Fear not.